Yeah, I wanna thank you in advance for letting us make it clear to y'all on the Mwendo radio show.
How did you get introduced to Caine?
Caine, man. I met Caine 5 years ago. I was teaching abstinence at this high school on the west side of Chicago. Lived with Brian Dye at the time. And the woman I was working with, she told me about this dude. She was like, oh, you rap? I got this guy who raps. You know, he doesn't know the Lord. You should go meet him. So I go to his house. Dude is high out his brain. I mean, like, I'm talking to high people all the time. Like, he was abnormally high. But he had just had a daughter. And so he was searching. He knew he also was selling heroin at the time. And he was like, I can't do this and try to be a dad. So he quit that. He was studying the Starbucks book because he was trying to get a job at Starbucks. And you know, I'm going over there a couple times, trying to talk to him, share the gospel with him. And it's just, I'm thinking nothing's getting through. This dude is high. He's living a totally different lifestyle. Like, he is not listening. And then like a year later, I look up, you know, he's sober. He got the job at Starbucks for about a year. He's like, you know, trying to raise his daughter, trying to work all that out. He's a believer now, like just all this stuff. And it was like, even in my doubts, like God worked it all out. But that's how we met under those circumstances. And now to be co-laborers in the faith and brothers and stuff, man, it's a beautiful thing.
Definitely. So can you kind of tell your testimony?
Man, I was born in New York. Lived in Georgia, Tennessee, the Bahamas, got to Chicago when I was 7 years old. Parents grew up in a believing household. My father was not a believer at first. He was a 5%er. He got saved in the military, in the Air Force. Kind of like the Bible says, he and all his household. He came home and just like we became a Christian household. So both my parents taught me, you know, how to study the scriptures, how to believe the Lord, you know, that he would work things out. And I made a profession of faith when I was like 5, but I think I really got saved around 14. 14 is when I had the conversation where I said, God, I want to know you for me. Right now I know you, like, you're my mom's God, you're my dad's God, and I'm doing stuff not to get in trouble, but I want to know who you are. And I was at a crossroads in my life. Like, I was about to either decide to start really chasing after girls. I was like, just doing all stuff I didn't do growing up, trying to fit in, trying to be cool, whatever. And I heard a gospel message, was convicted by it, and I was like, Lord, if you're real, I need you to show me you're real. And ever since then, I've kind of been rocking with him. So grew up, both parents in the household at first. They split up when I was 17, so having to deal with that, you know. I grew up in the hood, but my parents did a good job of, even though I was around that and had the influence of that around me, I still saw like a faithful man, godly family, like I said, studying the word, believing on him through hard times. And that's kind of my testimony in a nutshell. Nothing crazy like riding around with pistols and nothing like that. My friends had pistols, my friends sold drugs, but by God's grace, I was always kept out of that. So
Cool,
yeah.
cool. How'd you get hooked up with Brian Dye?
Man, poof. I was in a really dry place spiritually. I was probably around 18 or 19. My parents were still, like, they were separated at the time. The divorce wasn't official. My sisters were kind of going through a hard time because everything was going on. I got 2 younger sisters. My church, it was a lot of divorce going on in the church that I was coming up in. A lot of people, I believe, love the Lord. Great teachers for me in terms of certain things. But, like, just everything was just falling apart around me. And I had all these questions that I saw in the Bible that I wasn't seeing lived out necessarily with the people I was around. Like discipleship, you know, I didn't know the word for it, but I was like, I see these relationships. My friend Chris and I had something like that, but he was like the only one, you know, who I felt like we were living out what we saw in the scriptures. And so I got invited to this conference called Heavyweights. Ambassador was speaking at it, Lecrae was speaking at it, Trip Lee, you know, all these people who I was looking up to because I rap, and they invited me to come and to rap during their local artist spotlight to give some of like the local guys an opportunity to rap. So I really went thinking I was gonna rap, that, you know, these dudes gonna hear me, I was gonna be able to work with them, and, you know, this is probably 6 years ago or whatever. And did that, and I heard the gospel clearly presented, man. I heard about my sin, I heard about Jesus, I heard about discipleship, and I wanted that. I was like, that's what I've been looking for. So I asked Jay Son, who had been teaching around the conference, if he would disciple me. And at first he said, yeah, but then he was like, man, I'm in St. Louis, it's going to be kind of hard. He's like, have you ever met my man, Brian Dye? Why don't you talk to him? So I was mad. I thought he was passing me off. Like, come on, man, I'm serious. Like, I'm not just a... but anyway, I called Brian. Brian met with me on a Saturday. I told him my whole story. Tuesday morning, he came to my house at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he came to my house every morning, every Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. for the next 3 months, and just poured into me, like, walk life with me. Then he called me, like, other times to check in on me, pray with me. He invited me to come speak with him or listen to him speak, and I ended up moving into his house. Let's see, that was like November. I moved into his house in January, and then the only reason I moved out is because I got married the next February. So I was there for like a year, and it was great transforming for my life. So but that's how I met B. B died. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, it's cool how you got all guys have a connection to him, like living in his house even. Very cool. Can you talk about your ministry now?
Now, I co-pastor the Legacy Fellowship Church with Brian. We have another elder named Eric Correa, who's also an MMA fighter. I, still do hip-hop, so my artist name is just Kareem Manuel. I do hip-hop. We have a church that meets in my house, one of the locations. So we're a house church model. We have 6 or 7, I forget, house churches that meet across the city. And the first Sunday out the month, we all meet together, all the locations, and we worship together. So I lead one of those churches and then just try to disciple people, pour into people, just bring them along. The Hottie Lewis talks about something about addition, not multiplication, not adding stuff to your life, or multiplying stuff to your life, just adding people to what you're already doing. So I definitely try to do that when I travel, when I go to work, dinner, all that. And that's kind of my ministry now. It's like what Brian did for me, we've done for women. I've been married 5 years, 4.5 of those at that time, 4 years and a half a year at that time. My wife and I have had some lady living with us, and we've tried to walk life with them. And now we have 2 kids, and so that's changing a little bit. But that's pretty much the extent of it right now, just trying to use my life in whatever way God would have me to use it right now. So. Gotcha. Yeah.
Can you talk about how much influence hip-hop has in the violence in Chicago?
So the violence in Chicago is crazy, right? Like, the question is, does life imitate art, or does art imitate life? And honestly, man, I do feel like a lot of the Chicago artists that have a platform right now, like if you know the neighborhoods they come from and like how many people they know that have died, like I don't feel like it's anymore just people trying to make some money. I really feel like these guys are like trying to express serious hurt, and they're young, and so nobody's there to like kind of lead them and guide them. And so, Chief Keef gets into it with Lil JoJo. Someone kills Lil JoJo because Lil JoJo's actually in a gang, and Chief Keef is actually in a gang, right? And they just happen to make music, and tension flares up, and lines are drawn, and now somebody's not here anymore. And then the music seems to glorify it some, but if you really listen, people just hurt. They don't know what else to do. Like, I watched an interview with Chief Keef, and they brought up his dad. They were like, do you talk to your dad? And he just got so angry. Like, whole interview, he's doing cool, and his dad comes up, and he was like, nah, I don't talk to him. And that was it. Like, he was just like, they're just so hurt, man. And you see it when you see it in the number of murders that are, because it's not even just like people are dying. It's like literally kids are killing each other. We had over 500 murders last year, and we're already on pace to break that record this year. And again, we're talking about murders. This is not like, accidental deaths. So like, this is, I hate you, I don't like you, I take a gun, I'm gonna blow your brains out. And so hip hop has some influence, but there's so many other influences: the poverty, the lack of educational training, fatherlessness, just the disintegration of the neighborhoods. Nobody knows neighbors anymore. No one respects adults. And then the music is just the soundtrack that goes along with it. So when you listen to King Louis or Chief Keef or whatever, and it's all about the anger that they feel, and it feeds into the anger you feel when something goes off, then that's what happens. So like Lil Durk, he's an artist here in Chicago. There's a video of him on YouTube him and this dude beating the snot out of this little girl. They at a party, and the girl is mad at them about something. She gets in all in their face. They get in her face, and then they just tag team like punching her and beating her till she's on the ground and stomping her out. People are just taping it on their phones. And that's just the anger they feel, and that's why we gotta be here serving, trying to help them see, the people who listen to their music see, like, the end of this life is only death. Like that's the only hope you have, is that you die and go to heaven. And right now you're not headed that way, and you know it. And you're not happy. Your music says you're not happy. The people who listen to your music are not happy. You got all this money, and you keep getting in fights. You keep almost going to jail or going to jail. People you know keep dying. Like, this is not cool, and you know it. I can show you a more excellent way, and that's the hope of what we try to do. So just pray for us, man, for real.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk about your attempts to reach out to Chief Keef?
Yeah. So when he was locked up, I tried to get on the ballot to go see him. I don't have enough clout.
Mm-hmm.
Because they got to do a background check and all that. Pastor Corey Brooks, a really faithful minister here in Chicago, he wants to go talk to him and meet with him. And I was glad that he did that. And people were going to try to connect us, but it didn't. It still hasn't worked out. So if somebody knows how to get me in touch with Keef, holla at your boy. I know Jim Stones is trying too. He's another artist here. Excuse me. Jim Stone's a really good brother, becoming a good friend of mine. Our birthdays are like a day apart. Super talented. And so we're both just trying to reach out to him